So with the cars making their way back to the pit area, let's now just take an opportunity to have a talk with some of the drivers who I said have made this tremendous journey from their respective states to come here to Newcastle. We're so happy that so many of them have been able to make the trip here, and it's bad luck to those who have not been able to make the trip, because the expenses to come to an Australian title meeting can be pretty great, but just then the honour of becoming Australia #1 is also very great. And that honour currently stands with the driver from Western Australia, the man defending his title. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome him back to Newcastle, John Singleton. John, welcome back to Newcastle, and I suppose it's an interesting point to make that I point out that costs can be pretty great, particularly with you fellows coming right across the country.
Yes, Ross, first of all, I'd like to say good day to you again. It's been a long time since I've been at Newcastle. I think 81, 82 was probably the last time. Did quite a bit of running here. I'd like to think that I've got a bit of an advantage over a lot of the visitors, and that also gives me a great desire to win here, because the last time I contested in 81, we didn't get to run the final, so tonight I'd like to make amends for that. Thanks very much.
You have been in pretty good form, particularly at this track, and I think one thing that goes with titles is that the pressure is right on. It's all right to win titles at various home tracks and tracks that you like, but you carry the #1 and you're over here and you're going to do it again, but then again on a track that you have had some experience on, John.
Well, that's right, Ross, and titles are very much a matter of things going your way. You've got to have that little bit of luck. It doesn't matter how quick you go. It doesn't necessarily mean the quickest car is going to win.
Great to have you across here, because as I understand you didn't really make it direct through the Western Australian division, and you've had some pretty good support from people to get you across the country.
Yeah, well, that's right, Ross, and in fact, if it wasn't for, well, obviously my sponsors in Perth, Burnett Transport and the like, but if it wasn't for the manual transmission factory from Newcastle, I certainly wouldn't be here, because I didn't have the funds to make it on my own back, and they very generously came up with the money required.
We wish you all the very best of luck, and hopefully you might be able to make that 2 in a row.
Thank you very much, Ross.
Also from Western Australia, he was carrying the Western Australian flag, and he's no newcomer to Newcastle either. Ben Ludlow, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Perth. How are you, Ben? Welcome back to Newcastle.
Thanks. I'd like to thank the people for the hospitality always given to us in Newcastle. It's second to none, and we really enjoy it over here.
You obviously enjoy racing on this track too, because the times you've been here, you've done well.
Yes, we did well in 1981. Was over here, and I ran 4th in the final. I made a humongous blue with tyres, but I was pretty well tipped to win it then, but you can't win them all. But I was over here in 1987, and I did reasonably well in the heats, but muffed it in the final, the Grand Nationals.
Good luck in this weekend.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, then moving along to the man who was carrying the Victorian flag, I believe. I hope I've got things right there. With rooftop, no, from Tasmania. I did get it wrong. From Tasmania, would you make welcome the current Tasmanian champ, Ian Richardson. Welcome to Newcastle, Ian. Right across the Bass Strait.
Yeah, first time over.
First time over. Well, no doubt you've done plenty of racing in your own state, because you're proudly carrying the #1. Is this being your first trip to the mainland, then there's heaps of pressure on you?
Yeah, and if I can't win a race, I'll do something else here.
Will you? Okay. Well, here's a man from Tasmania going to make his trip all worthwhile. We wish you all the very best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Okay, let's move down the road to rooftop number 13, carrying the Victorian flag this time, the Victorian champ, Peter Timberlake. Welcome to Newcastle, Peter, and good luck in the titles for this weekend.
Thanks for that, Ross.
Now, can I remember you being here before?
I've never raced here, Ross. I've been here a couple of times spectating over the years, but no, I've never raced here.
Well, you've got a pretty strong state. We're pretty happy at the fact that we've got a strong New South Wales state, but you do have a very strong Victorian state, and to win that #1 must have been a pretty hard task, so you'll be a big chance in these titles.
That's right, Ross. Yes, we do have a lot of strong cars in Victoria. I've been at it a long time, and I tried to win that for a long time. I finally won the title. I was very pleased with that. So we're here. There's 3 of us here from Victoria. We would have liked to have had more up here, but situations sort of caused people not to be able to make it. But there are 3 strong cars here, and we hope to put up a really good show.
Good luck to you in the titles.
Thanks very much.
Right, let's move along down the line. Car number 42. But remember, the rooftops are the ones that are going to be important for you. And from South Australia, Chris Blunden. How are you, Chris? Welcome to Newcastle.
Thank you very much. It's really good to be here. It's the first time I've been to Newcastle. We saw the track for the first time yesterday, and having a round last night was good fun. So.
Okay, what about practice last night?
Yeah, I was pretty happy. I got down to times that I was very happy with. a lot better than what we expected to do. So hopefully we'll repeat the same performance tonight.
Well, I suppose like a lot of other drivers, it's a hell of a long way to come, so you're going to be giving it your best shot.
Sure is, yeah. We've invested a bit of money, so we want to try as hard as everybody else does.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and further down the line from the Northern Territory, another heck of a long way to come, and proud to carry his colours on top of the 55 car is Terry Carew. How are you, Terry? Welcome to New South Wales. Is this your first time down?
Yes, mate. It's a long way to come. 5,030 k's.
5,030 k's, a heck of a long way, and you've still got a few k's to do out there on the track.
I hope I do the lot of them too.
Well, good luck to you in the titles. It's a long way to come, as we've said, and your machinery looks pretty tip-top, and I know you'll be doing the best for the Territorians.
Thanks, mate. I couldn't do it without Australian fuel distributors.
Good on you. Yes, the sponsors are very important for people to be coming such a long way, and sponsors play a particularly important part, and we're aware of that in the presentation of this title tonight. Well, the Banana Benders celebrated Australia Day holiday with us, and here's the current Queensland champion, Wayne Randall. Please make him welcome to the Motordrome. Wayne, welcome back. You're no newcomer to our track, and it's great to see you here for the titles.
Yeah, we're pleased to be here, and last night we had a bit of trouble, but I hope that was the last bit of trouble we're going to have for the weekend.
Well, just fill us in a little bit on the trouble.
Well, my fault a bit. I revved it a bit hard, and it stripped the blower belt, and when it done that, it busted a power steering line, which we couldn't get, so we didn't have any practice except for one decent heat, and the rest was trying to ride without power steering, which is impossible.
Wayne, I suppose that brings me to an important point. When you come to a title like this, it's all very well for us to say you've come from the Northern Territory, South Australia and so on, but pit crews and the people who then have to do that sort of thing when things don't go right are also very important.
Yeah, well, there's only two of us here last night, but we've got our crew tonight, which will make it heaps easier. It's believe it or not, a lot of people don't see what goes on in the pits, but without the crew, the cars just wouldn't make it to the track. And that's not only on the night, it's during the week. We spend a lot of hours, like everyone else on this track, preparing the cars for the meeting, and when you get here, it's not over either. It's more work. So we really appreciate what our crew does, and same to Ian Botcher. He's a tremendous sponsor or owner of the car, and without people like him, we won't have the class of car that we've got today.
Good luck in the titles.
Thank you very much.
And here's the man who's no doubt going to get plenty of our New South Wales support and our Newcastle support, the New South Wales champ, John Pine. John, we've been right down the line of all the states, and when we come to titles like this, home tracks, you can't take it away. They do play some sort of part in the title.
Yes, the home track does have a small advantage, but then again, looking from the outside, coming and not knowing what to expect can be a little bit of an advantage. So we may think the track's going to do one thing and get caught out, so we still have to keep our wits about ourselves, Ross. And in the same token, I'd like to welcome every competitor that's here tonight, especially the miles they've travelled, the states from each state, welcome, and I hope the best man wins tonight, and I think we're going to have, not tonight, tomorrow night, sorry, and I think we're going to have some fantastic racing because this is Australia 1, this is the best in Australia, and the best man will win.
I think on those words, we better get right down to action.
Yes, so let's go racing.
John Pine will represent New South Wales along with a strong contingent of drivers as, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we get set for the Yokohama New FM 105 Australian Super Sedan title. So we're standing by for the first heat of the Australian Super Sedan titles. And they're on their way. The green flag falls to send them on their campaign to capture the Australian #1. And remember, they will compete in 3 heats. Each driver will run 3 heats, and the top 16 point scorers will go directly into the final. And at the end of the first lap, Stu Robertson from Newcastle has the lead, followed by Rooftop 24, the Western Australian Robert Gray. Then comes the Queenslander Keith Rubeck, who's back in 3rd place, and the other Queenslander Wayne Randall coming up to 4th. Robert Gray, the Western Australian, got very wide in the red car, carrying Rooftop 24, and he dropped back from 2nd to 3rd, allowed the Queenslander Keith Rubeck with Rooftop number 46 to go through into 2nd place. Stu Robertson, with the local knowledge of the track, starting to move away from the rest of the pack and open up a pretty handy lead. Robertson leads from Rubeck, the Queenslander. Then comes the Western Australian Gray, followed by the Queenslander Randall. Oh, there's a beautiful pass by Gray in the red car number 24 to get back underneath the Queenslander Rubeck. and Gray goes back into second place. Rubeck running third. Randall is fourth. Ron Pine from Newcastle is fifth, and Graham Lilford, making a return to Speedway racing, is running in sixth place. He's in the rooftop car number 69, which is the John Pearson American car number 1. And this is Graham Cowboy Lilford making his return to Speedway racing and sitting in sixth spot. Robert Gray starting to pick up ground on Stu Robertson, and Robertson not getting it all his own way out in front. So Robertson, who's had the lead virtually from the outset. Robert Gray in second place, getting a caution flag. Then Keith Rubeck, Wayne Randall, Ron Pine and Graham Lilford. They are the top 6 cars in the first heat of the Yokohama Tyres New FM 105 Australian Super Sedan titles. Robertson in the Corvette leads the Western Australian Grey in the Pontiac Firebird. Then there's a gap back to the Queenslander Rubeck. Then Wayne Randall, Ron Pine, Graham Lilford and Tony Grinstead in car number 18. Stu Robertson beginning to pick up on one of these slower cars. I wonder whether that's going to have any effect on his placing. He moves up on the outside of Whalen. Whalen's car is just not handling at all, pushing really badly in the corners. Gray is trying to cop on the inside of him. Gray, in fact, almost selling out. He's got a big fishtail going and he can't control it. He's gone out wide. Rubeck got around him. They're really starting to squeeze up behind Whalen, who's got some handling problems with his car. Checkered flag will come out and it'll go to Stu Robertson. Rooftop 4. The rooftops are the important ones. 46, 45, 69. Then the rooftop 35, followed by the 18, the rooftop 18. And the placings are to be declared at the previous lap, so we'll have to check those from the lap scorers. So we will try and confirm those for you. I assume it would be for Stu Robertson. I'm calling the rooftop numbers, please note. Rooftop number 4, Stu Robertson. Rooftop 46, Keith Rubeck. And rooftop 45, Ron Pine, as I called them across the line 1, 2 and 3, that those placings will have to come from the lap scorers, the placings to be confirmed by lap scorers, because the stewards instructing that the race go back to the previous lap. We're just checking the placings, the top few placings for you from that previous heat. Here are the rooftop numbers: 4, 46, 69, 36. That is not correct. Stand by. We'll go to Heat 2 and confirm those placings later as we look at the second heat of the Yokohama Tyres New FM 105 Super Sedan Championships, and Newcastle driver Darryl Farrelly has scooted away to the lead in the second heat. He's followed out quickly by the Canberra driver Robert Burke, but he's been passed by the champion John Singleton, and Singleton has gone up into second place to get out after the leader, Darryl Farrelly. And Singleton driving particularly well, will move up to Farrelly soon. In third place at the moment is Robert Burke from Canberra. Then there's a big bunch of cars in fourth place at the moment. Rooftop number 35, the Tasmanian Darryl Jones. Then Ray Wright from New South Wales, Bob Brewer from New South Wales. Then the rooftop number 33 from New South Wales, the Lismore driver Cole Bryant, caught up in that pack of cars, running in about sixth place. Ray Wright squeezes through on the inside of the Tasmanian Jones, but Farrelly is the leader. From Singleton, who seems to be happy at the moment just to settle in second place. We've got a problem down here with the South Australian Chris Blunden. And Farrelly will come back to the pack, and Singleton will be in a position to press for the lead and get the major points in Heat 2. No start. The South Australian Chris Blunden has gone onto the infield. Now the green flag falls to send them away at the restart. Singleton going up on the outside of Farrelly. He's up very high, Singleton. Can he get the pressure that he needs and the traction that he needs? He can, and Singleton goes to the lead. The current Australian champion out in front in the second heat. The Western Australian looking good. Ray Wright in second place. Darryl Farrelly running third. Here's John Leslight starting to make moves through. Singleton the leader, followed by Wright. Then comes Farrelly. Next driver is Brewer, and Leslight starting to make up some ground to get some valuable points on the board for him. John Singleton leads, the current Australian champion, getting away to a good start. That'll put him in a good frame of mind for the championships, to get away to a good start in the opening heat. He seems to be handling the track very well. Singleton the leader, followed by Ray Wright from New South Wales, Bob Brewer from New South. Now Leslight's got a flat tyre. Leslight has popped the tyre, and that's bad luck for him. Flat right rear for Leslight, and he goes onto the infield. Jolly bad luck for Leslight. He was going well, and he's now not going to pick up any points at all in his opening heat, which will have to make him work hard, and that's the thing that a lot of the drivers said in the briefing. A little bit of luck is needed. Singleton, followed by Ray Wright, then Bob Brewer and Darryl Farrelly. Then comes Robert Burke, followed by Darryl Jones from Tasmania, then Cole Bryant, and the South Australian Chris Blunden. Now coming into the main straightaway this time, the current Australian champion John Singleton will get the white flag. Singleton with a lap to go. Second place Wright. Then Bob Brewer, followed by Darryl Farrelly and Robert Burke. The checkered flag will come out, and the Australia 1 will come home first, followed by the New South Wales 7 of Ray Wright. Then comes the New South Wales 2 of Bob Brewer, the New South Wales 11 of Darryl Farrelly, and the ACT 53 of Burke, the New South Wales 33 of Cole Bryant, with the South Australian Chris Blunden getting up in front of the Tasmanian Darryl Jones. And the flag falls to send them on their way. And a little bit of a slide out there by Duncan McDonald caused a little bit of trouble. John Pine has very quickly made up 3 placings in the space of half a lap, and Duncan McDonald the leader. Just a little bit greasy for them, but I think it was important the water went down at that stage, otherwise there was going to be a very dry track. But the leader now is the Rooftop number 58 of David Nichols, and the Tasmanians in fact running 1 and 2 here. David Nichols leading Ian Richardson. John Maunder got into a bit of trouble. John Pine coming up on the outside of Richardson, and he's gone right underneath him. Maunder has slammed into the side of Pine. And Maunder's car is a mess. The front end has collapsed. The right front end is almost torn out of the car. And only 2 laps down, it did appear that Pine and Richardson came together. Pine swung sideways and Maunder ploughed into the side of him. Pine is having his car checked by one of the trackside officials, and we're standing by for the decision to be made as to what will happen. Ian Richardson has come through unscathed, but not John Maunder. John Pine will be sent to the rear of the field. Pine is saying that it was Richardson's fault and not his, but the stewards are pointing that he is to go to the rear. Yellow lights are flashing in this, the restart for the third heat. No start. We've got David Nichols from Tasmania and Ian Richardson from Tasmania, but Ian Richardson's not real keen on that outside grid draw. He wants to start single file. Now he's moving up. Coming into the acceleration zone, and away they go. David Nichols and Ian Richardson. Richardson trying to tuck in behind Nichols, but they're going to make him work very hard for it. In fact, he got shut right out of it, and Nichols is the leader. Duncan McDonald has worked his way back into second place. Oh, there's a car going very quickly. That was Marshall moving up there to bump into the back end of Bink. Bink is running third. Pine is running fourth. That's John Pine, the current New South Wales champion. And then comes Ian Marshall in fifth place as David Nichols, the Tasmanian, looking to do things very nicely up front. Then Duncan McDonald. John Pine trying to get past Peter Bink at the moment, and Bink slid out into the corner, and that allowed Pine to go through on the inside, and Pine goes up into third place after having been sent to the rear of the field. The Tasmanian David Nichols is the leader. From New South Wales, Duncan McDonald, then the current New South Wales champion John Pine. The Canberra driver Peter Bink is running fourth. The Queenslander Ian Marshall is fifth. Coming hard around the outside of Bink too is Marshall. Paul O'Neill, rooftop number 56, is moving up into sixth place. Pine goes up into second spot. Marshall goes round the outside of McDonald as McDonald strikes trouble on the inside. Bink goes round the outside of him as well, and Paul O'Neill goes up on the outside, and Duncan McDonald goes right back to sixth place. Oh, but gee, the Tasmanian David Nichols looking the goods in this third heat. He's doing it well. Pine's getting nowhere near him. He's being pushed along very strongly by Ian Marshall, and he looks good too. Got plenty of power in the car, and it's handling beautifully. Then comes Peter Bink, followed by Paul O'Neill and Duncan McDonald. So the Tasmanian David Nichols has a very strong lead in the third heat of the Yokohama Tyres New FM 105 Australian Super Sedan titles, and he's showing a clean pair of heels to John Pine, the local track champ, the New South Wales champ, who's not getting any closer to Nichols. Nichols is looking good. Marshall is pushing up on the inside of him very strongly. Pine starting to blow some smoke in second place. Marshall from Queensland working hard at him in third. Now Pine and Marshall are starting to pick Nichols up as they go down the back straight away. But this is going to be a good win to the Tasmanian. And let's have a look at the roof numbers as they come down to take the checkered flag. 58, 9, 25, 3, 56, 17, 10 and 48. Rooftop 58. The Tasmanian David Nichols was first. Rooftop 9, New South Wales John Pine second. Rooftop 25, Queensland's John Marshall third. Rooftop 3, Canberra's Peter Bink was fourth. Rooftop 56, Lismore's Paul O'Neill was fifth. Rooftop 17, Gunnedar's Duncan McDonald was sixth. Rooftop 10, Tasmania's Ian Richardson was seventh. And 48, South Australia's Bob Fulton was eighth. No time taken. So the green flag falls to send them away in the fourth heat of the Australian Super Sedan titles. And it was Girdleston who looked to go very quickly to the lead. John Brown coming out of the pack very quickly. And Alan Baker trying to make a move up high, but Baker's got in trouble, but the field missed him okay. 11, Pedro Smith it is, the race leader. Pedro Smith leads away from John Brown. Brown getting out of the pack quickly and climbing all over the back of the Pedro Smith car. Peter Garrett follows Brown up into third place. Smith, Brown and Garrett. They might be two very ordinary names, Smith and Brown, but there they are out in front. And now it's Brown and Smith as John Brown goes to the lead. Brown the leader from Smith. Then comes Garrett, who's in third place, and these three local cars starting to move away from the rest of the pack. In fourth place, under plenty of pressure, is Tony Mannion from Tasmania. And then the Victorian champ, Peter Timberlake, starting to move through on the inside of Mannion, and Timberlake goes up into fourth place. Mannion's back to fifth. But it's all John Brown. He's going to settle into a rhythm now. He'll find his rhythm and he'll just start putting the laps down nice and steadily. No pressure on the car, no pressure on him. He'll just fall into the groove. John Brown the leader from Pedro Smith and Peter Garrett. Then comes Anthony Mannion, followed by Peter Timberlake, and Mannion's sort of got them held up a little bit behind the Newcastle cars up front, but he's trying his hardest. He's new to the track. Peter Timberlake new to the track as well, as you heard him tell us in the introductions. He's been here as a spectator. Now he's out on the track and doing it strongly. Then comes the Queenslander Doug Gordon behind Timberlake, and now Alan Baker, after making an uncharacteristic mistake in the opening lap, is starting to pick up some ground and move up on the inside of Gordon. But John Brown is just giving them a bath in this heat. He's well clear of Pedro Smith. Peter Garrett trying to come up on the inside of Pedro Smith. A good battle for second and third. Then a long way back to Mannion, Timberlake, Gordon and Baker, and they're having a tremendous struggle for the minor placings to pick up the points. Baker getting through nicely on the inside of Gordon and Timberlake. And Baker now goes up into fifth place behind the Tasmanian Mannion. Baker coming up on the inside of Mannion. Mannion drifted out a little. Baker was forced to back off. Now he comes through on the inside and he should be able to get Mannion down the main straight away. So Baker now goes up into fourth place. Brown the leader, followed by Smith and Garrett. Then comes Baker, Gordon, Timberlake and Mannion, followed by the 28 of Sean Mortimer. Oh, there's Mannion getting into trouble and drifting out wide and losing some placings. But John Brown is on his last lap. And let's take a look at the route numbers as we see them from the tower for Heat 4. 6, John Brown. Look at the battle for second. Peter Garrett and Smith. Garrett on the inside, Smith on the outside. Garrett coming up on the inside, and I think Smith might have just got there from Garrett. I think he might have just got there from Garrett. Then came Baker. followed by Gordon. Then came the Victorian Timberlake. And there is a new 12-lap record to John Brown, 3 minutes, 17.295. John Brown, a new 12-lap record. He's looking good for the title. And trouble for Anthony Mannion, the Tasmanian, over there in car number 20. The green flag falls to send them on their way in the 5th heat of the Australian Super Sedan titles. And a pretty scratchy start towards the back of the field, as some of the drivers new to the track come to grips with it. And our race leader, rooftop number 15, Tony Bridge, followed by the Northern Territory driver Terry Carew in rooftop 55. We'll call them by the rooftops because that's how they are in your program, and that's how their officials are scoring them as far as points are concerned. So it's the 15 of Tony Bridge leading the 39 of Ben Ludlow. The Western Australian has moved up into second place. Then comes Terry Carew in third place. So Tony Bridge leads from Ben Ludlow, then the 61 of David Hughes, no chains, they're strung out quite some too, and Tony Bridge is the driver who's got them strung out in rooftop number 15. He's the Queenslander, followed by the Western Australian Ben Ludlow. So it's Bridge from Ludlow. Then comes David Hughes, the Queenslander, in third place. The leader is Tony Bridge from Ben Ludlow. Then David Hughes, followed by rooftop 16, the South Australian Stephen Miller. He seems to be settling in all right too, does Stephen Miller, in the distinctive purple and blue car. Behind him is the New South Wales driver Colin Bell, and then Barry Lee. Now the race leader is the blue and white car with rooftop number 15. That's the Queenslander Tony Bridge. And he's well clear of the Western Australian Ben Ludlow in second place. Then comes the Queenslander David Hughes, followed by the South Australian Stephen Miller. Catching up to the slower cars is our Queensland leader, Tony Bridge, round the outside of the slower car of Ken Johnson. And he has just 2 laps to go to complete heat 5. Tony Bridge leads from the Western Australian Ben Ludlow, a long way back then to the Queenslander David Hughes and the South Australian Stephen Miller. Then the 2 New South Wales cars of Colin Bell and Barry Lee, but they're on their last lap, 1 lap to go. And cars completing heat 5. The 15, the rooftop numbers we'll check, 15, 39, 61, 16, 63, 8, 55, and a couple of others coming. So the time taken there, 3 minutes 19.322, would have been under the old record, but is a couple of seconds slower than the new record set by John Brown in the previous heat. Rooftop 15, Tony Bridge. 39, Ben Ludlow. 61, David Hughes. 16, Stephen Miller. 63 Colin Bell, 8 Barry Lee, and 55 Terry Carew were the ones I got down at 3 minutes 19.322. And Tony Bridge doing his lap of honour, very happy that he's taken out the maximum points from his heat. Now each driver has completed 1 point scoring heat. So here are the 15 drivers. That's the top 3 from each heat. John Singleton, Stu Robertson, Dave Nichols, John Brown and Tony Bridge all have 36 points. Ray Wright, John Pine, Rob Gray, Pedro Smith and Ben Ludlow have 28 points. Bob Brewer, Keith Ruback, Ian Marshall, Peter Garrett and David Hughes have 23 points. Don McEwen making his first appearance tonight. Now, gee, he's got it all to do because he didn't make it out for his first heat. He's going to have to do some point scoring here. Apparently had mechanical problem and the green flag sends them away in the 6th heat of the Yokohama New FM 105 Australian Super Sedan title. And there's trouble. Keith Ruback has gone straight into the fence. That's a heavy crash. Wayne Randall, Cole Bryant, John Pine, Don McEwen are all okay. Sean Mortimer, John Leslight, Dave Nichols. Now Nichols is up in a high point scoring position, so too is Singleton. So a very interesting clash of the Tasmanian Dave Nichols here in the rooftop 58. There's the green and Randall got away quickly. Bryant was very slow to move. John Pine got up on the inside of Randall, and Pine, the New South Wales champ, Randall, the Queensland champ. They're running door handle to door handle, and Wayne Randall gives it a bootful round the outside. Pine gives it a bootful on the inside. They're still running door handle to door handle, with Randall looking a little bit the better at the moment as he comes round the outside of Pine. Pine on the inside, oh, but Randall looking just a little bit too good at the moment. And Randall starts to scoot away from Pine. Randall goes to the lead and deserved to do it. John Pine in second place. But a red light is on. And trouble for Sean Mortimer, who's starting to blow smoke. 14, Don McEwen to go to the rear. What a horror of a night he's having. Couldn't get the car started, apparently, to come out for his first heat, so scored no points whatsoever. And rooftop 56, car 14, Don McEwen, to the rear of the field now after getting into trouble in turn 3-4. Stand by for the restart to heat 6. And they're on their way. Now Randall got away quickly on the outside. Pine going up on the inside. Randall and Pine, they're still door handle to door handle down the back straight away. Gee, this Queenslander won't give in and Pine won't give in either. This is real New South Wales versus Queensland stuff. The Cane Toads and the Cockroaches out in front. And Wayne Randall, the Cane Toad, has got the lead from the Cockroach, John Pine at the... Oh, Pine's in trouble, the steering's gone. And brilliantly done, John Pine. By gee, that steering was gone. And John Singleton's done a head gasket for sure. Look at the steam coming out of that. That is steam, that's not smoke. I don't think it's smoke, I think he's done a head gasket. Now John Pine's steering was gone. Now he seems to have got it sorted out again. He's getting back on the track, but he should have restarted on the far side of the track. That's where he left it. Oh, trouble. Singleton's in problem. The Australian champ and Don McEwen have come to grips. What an action-packed heat we've got on our hands here. Heat 6. The boys settle down, and now they've got hot under the collar. John Singleton, I think he's blown a head gasket. I'm not sure, but that looks to be steam pouring out the exhaust. Not smoke. It doesn't look to be smoke. It looks to be steam. Anyhow, Singleton is out of the car. McEwen's still going. Pine. Now, The steering to me just seemed to fold up completely on the far side of the track, and I thought Pine did brilliantly to get off the circuit away from other cars. But now all of a sudden the steering seems to have sorted itself out. It just must have momentarily locked for some unknown reason. But the left-hand front was certainly at an awkward angle. I still think that there's a question mark on how Pine re-entered the circuit. But he's back in the race. Now Mortimer. There's the green flag, Randall on the outside, Mortimer on the inside, and it is Randall who takes up the running. The Queenslander's been in very good form in this heat, and probably if anyone deserves to win the heat, it would be him. Randall is the leader. Mortimer is in second place. Now Leslight running third, and look at Pine coming up on the inside. Leslight getting up to Mortimer. The two Lismore boys are running shoulder to shoulder, wheel to wheel, and Leslight got through on the inside and past his Lismore teammate Mortimer. And Pine got through on the inside as well, and Pine goes up into second place. Is he on the inside of Leslight? Oh, Pine's running hot to trot. And he goes through on the inside of Leslight. Leslight comes back at him on the outside in the big yellow car. But the little yellow car of John Pine goes into second place. In the meantime, the banana bender, Wayne Randall's given him the slip. But John Pine says he's not going to give me too much of a slip, and he's out after him. Pine is now starting to stand on the gas, and he's getting out after Randall. We've got a red light. Here's a car in trouble down underneath our television tower. It's Mortimer. He's in trouble. This is certainly the most incident-packed heat of our Yokohama Tyres new FM 105 titles. Gee, what a good heat this is. Randall from Queensland going well. So too is Pine. He's really starting to get out after Randall now. Then Leslight. He's going to be a tough contender tomorrow night if he can get straight into the final in a pretty good posse. Such a very good driver. Knows how to pace himself in a race. He's waving his hand in front of his face there. The methanol fumes, I think, from the cars in front of him, probably getting a little hard to breathe. Certainly waving his hand pretty ferociously, Leslight, to chase away those methanol fumes, probably from the Pine car in front of him. So we've reduced the field in this heat right down to 5 cars. So away they go, and there it is quite clearly, the slowness of the Randall car. He's just going to continue to pick up the points, which that's the important thing for him. John Pine has had the lead presented to him, and John Leslight is trying to chase out after him. John Pine, John Leslight, then comes Cole Bryant, followed by Don McEwen, and Wayne Randall just motivating around the back of the pack to pick up the points in the 5 cars that are left to come to the checkered flag in this heat. Heat number 6 of the Yokohama Tyres new FM 105 Australian Super Sedan titles, and the current New South Wales champ John Pine in the lead and in the groove, doing it comfortably from John Leslight, and I don't think Leslight will push too much harder than that either. I think he'll be fairly much content with the second place. Then comes Cole Bryant, followed by Don McEwen. McEwen getting up on the inside of Bryant, trying to look for some more points if he can get them. And Wayne Randall just plugging around at the back of the pack. Got problems with the rotary after doing so well early in the race. But 1 to go for John Pine. He's going to pick up the big points here. Don McEwen trying to come up on the inside of Cole Bryant. They got another touch going into turn 1. Bryant backed off. Let's have a look at the roof numbers as they come to the checkered flag in heat 6. 9, 51, 66, 33 and 36. The only point scoring cars from that heat. 9, John Pine. 51, John Leslight. 66, Don McEwen. 33, Cole Bryant. And 36, Wayne Randall. And the green light is on for heat 7, and Garrett got away very quickly. Ludlow going up on the outside of him, and the Western Australian Ben Ludlow looking for the lead and getting it, going down back straight away. Ludlow the leader, Garrett in second place. Now Grinstead moves up into third spot, and Timberlake goes out very wide in turn 4 but hangs on to fourth spot, and then he's followed through by Peter Gudgeon in rooftop 44. So it's Ben Ludlow the leader, followed by Peter Garrett, and then comes Grinstead and Timberlake, Gudgeon and Bink. Going up on the inside, McDonald, who got a bump with the 53 car. That's Burke, as our leader, Ben Ludlow, comes down main straightaway. Peter Garrett second, then there's a break back to Grinstead running third. Peter Timberlake in fourth spot, followed by Peter Gudgeon and Peter Bink. No change in the order. Ludlow doing it nicely at the moment and seems to be settling into a pretty good rhythm. Peter Garrett holding down a good second, and they're well clear of the third placed driver in Tony Grinstead from Victoria. Then comes the Victorian Peter Timberlake right behind him, followed by Peter Gudgeon. Coming down Main Straight, Ben Ludlow is still the leader, followed by the 5 of Peter Garrett. Then comes Grinstead, followed by Timberlake and Gudgeon with Peter Bink right behind. Now, perhaps Ludlow just might be taking things fairly steadily at the moment, but Garrett seems to be still within striking distance of him. Then comes this tremendous battle going on for the minor points. The Victorians, Grinstead and Timberlake, with Grinstead on the outside, Timberlake going up on the inside, can't quite get to Grinstead. Grinstead hanging on to third place. Here's Gudgeon coming up on the inside of Timberlake, and Peter Bink is right behind them. Oh, Bink got a little bit of a bump there on Timberlake. Timberlake is gone though, the car's just died on him. Now he's got it going again, however, something went amiss there. So coming down Main straightaway is our race leader, that's Ben Ludlow. Behind him the blue car of Peter Garrett. Then this good race between Gudgeon and Grinstead, with Grinstead just hanging on to third, cutting across the bows of Gudgeon. Gudgeon holding down fourth. Then there's a break back to Peter Bink, and then comes Tony Bridge, the Queenslander. But Ludlow and Garrett on their last lap. Grinstead and Gudgeon going onto their last lap. So too is Bink going onto his last lap, and then Tony Bridge. But the checkered flag is out, and here are the rooftop numbers for Heat 7. 39, 5. Then comes 18, 44, 3, 15. Then 13, 17, 53 and 21, with a time taken of 3:17.887 is only 0.6 of a second outside that new John Brown record. Yellow lights are flashing, and they're away. Oh, and Colin Bell got into trouble right at the very start. I thought it might be going to be a little bit slick. The race is continuing with Colin Bell trying to get himself into gear. Now he gets himself into gear. He's taking a long while to get himself sorted out. But the green flag is on, and Colin Bell's in all sorts of trouble. Bob Brewer is the leader. followed by Stu Robertson, and then Chris Blundell. Then the 8 of Barry Lee, and the 69 of Graham Lilford going up on the outside of Barry Lee. Bob Brewer leading from Stu Robertson, then the South Australian Chris Blunden, followed by Graham Lilford. Now Lilford's the man who's starting to make a move, and so too's the South Australian Chris Blunden, getting up onto our Newcastle driver Stu Robertson. Brewer, followed by Robertson, then Blunden and Lilford. Lilford catching up to Robertson. Robertson just not happy with the track conditions at the moment, and Blunden's driving and handling his car far better under the conditions. And Robertson's back to third, with the pressure coming on him from Lilford now in the United States #1 car with the rooftop number of 69. Bob Brewer is way clear of the pack, but here's the interesting battle. The South Australian Chris Blunden in second, Newcastle's Stu Robertson and Newcastle's Graham Lilford running third and fourth right behind him. Then a long break back to Barry Lee, Ken Johnson, Pedro Smith, with Bob Brewer catching up to that pack of cars and about to lap them. Here's Robertson starting to come back at the South Australian Chris Blunden now, and Lilford still sitting right on their tail, waiting for them to make a mistake. Brewer coming round the outside, goes clear of these slower cars. 42 Blunden, 4 Robertson, 69 Lilford, and here's Brewer, half a lap clear of that second place getter Chris Blunden from South Australia. Blunden, Robertson and Lilford. Oh, there's Blunden drifting out a little. Robertson's going to get closer to him, but not quite close enough to get second place away from him. Lilford now starting to move up, realising that he's got the pressure on these two guys ahead of him and that they might be starting to feel the pressure. There might be a chink in their armour, and he might be able to find that chink. Brewer way in front, a clear half lap in front of the second place car from South Australia, Chris Blunden, who got a touch with the car going into turn 4. Robertson and Lilford right behind. Now we've got a traffic jam going into turn 1, 2. Blunden, Robertson and Lilford lapping the slower cars. Lilford doing well in the traffic, there's no doubt about it. Blunden coming round the outside of the slower car. Robertson goes with him. Lilford goes with both of them. Checkered flag coming out, and the win in Heat 8 goes to Rooftop 2, Bob Brewer. Second place will go to Rooftop 42, that's Chris Blunden. Rooftop 4, Robertson. Rooftop 69, Lilford. And the time recorded, 3 minutes, 23.503. Stand by. Heat 9 of the title. Alan Baker gets the green flag and takes it away strongly into turn 1, 2. Ron Pine went up on the inside of the Tasmanian Richardson, and Girdleston went up quickly on the inside too. Richardson's trapped out wide again. He's been trapped out wide a couple of times and takes his time to get back down low, and the rest of the cars just come up very quickly on the inside of him. Now he's trying to tuck down a little, Richardson in 4th place, and he'll need to do so because there's plenty of pressure from Ian Marshall coming up underneath him again, and Marshall goes through on the inside of Richardson. He backs off and decides to tuck right down on the low line in front of Paul O'Neill. Alan Baker the leader from Ron Pine, then Nick Girdleston and Ian Marshall. Ian Marshall, once he gets a bit clear of traffic, looks to have plenty of power in that car of his in 4th place. But Alan Baker, Ron Pine, Nick Girdleston and Ian Marshall are the top 4 cars, with Paul O'Neill, Darryl Farrelly and Ian Richardson dropping back through the field. Miller not able to make up much ground either, and nor is Whalen, and Darren Kane is tailed right off and seems to be having all sorts of trouble coming to grips with the Motordrome track and his car. It's just not performing well for him at all. Alan Baker leads with 7 laps to go in heat number 9 of the championships. Then comes Ron Pine. the two New South Wales drivers, leading the Queenslander Ian Marshall. Those top three cars look to be running in a pretty smooth groove at the moment. Marshall's the one that's impressed me so far tonight. Once he gets clear of traffic, he seems to be able to really put the power on, and he goes very quickly. Baker, Pine and Marshall. Girdleston's running fourth. O'Neill is fifth. Farrelly is sixth. Miller is seventh. Richardson is eighth. But it's Baker doing it nicely. Ron Pine second. Marshall running third. Then comes Girdleston and O'Neill. Baker's been pretty impressive up front too. When he has a clear run in traffic, he can put down some quick laps. Now Marshall's in trouble, is he? He's lost some ground there. He's spitting sparks out from underneath the car. That's the car running third, the predominant yellow car of Ian Marshall. Seems to have a bit of a problem because there's sparks coming out from underneath the car. Certainly I saw them coming down Main straightaway. Yep, there they are, those sparks coming out from the back of the car. But Marshall is continuing and holding down third place at the moment. Only one lap to go for Alan Baker. Ron Pine is second. Marshall is third. Then comes Girdleston and O'Neill. But the rooftop numbers will check out for you as they come down to the line in heat 9. 32 is first. 45 second. 25 third. 65 fourth. 56 fifth. 16. 41. 10. And now 3 minutes. 13.958 becomes the new record. 4 seconds faster than John Brown's. 3:13.958, a new 12-lap record, smashing the 12-lap record that was set earlier tonight by John Brown. And Brownie comes out in the next heat. And away they go. Carrick got out very wide on the track, and two cars have come to grief. The 61 car of David Hughes. Another car that got into all sorts of trouble there going onto the infield. John Brown the leader, followed by the 54 of Doug Gordon, and there's John Maunder, who's piled into the fence again. The 61 car of David Hughes, he's been in all sorts of trouble. And John Maunder, would you believe, repaired the front right-hand end, got going to come out in this heat and has smashed the front right-hand end again. He just went straight into the wall. So I take it, maybe he was still having some problems. Lights are flashing and they're on their way, and John Brown goes quickly to the lead. Ray Wright trying to get up on the inside in the yellow car, trying to keep Doug Gordon out very wide, and Bob Fulton just ahead of them is going to be the real ham in the sandwich in a moment as Gordon goes round the outside. So it's Brown the leader from Gordon. Ray Wright goes up into third. Fulton drops back to fourth. And now Gray is getting out of the pack and moving through on the inside. Oh, they got a bit of a touch there. Got themselves sorted out. But gee, the Western Australian Robert Gray has blown his chances. Up onto the infield he goes. 6, John Brown is the leader. From 7, Ray Wright. Then comes Doug Gordon in rooftop 54, right behind Ray Wright and keeping the pressure on him. Now Gray is getting back in the race in 4th spot, but he is lapped. He's a lap down and he's getting a caution flag. There's Ray Wright going up onto the infield, and Gordon goes up into 2nd place. Brown Gordon, Wright, then comes Fulton, followed by Carew, Robert Carrick, and then Gray. Oh, Gordon's in trouble up on the concrete wall, but he managed to come away from it all right. John Brown, the leader, in the white car number 6. Going to put 2 wins together now, John Brown. Followed by Gordon, then Wright. Then comes Fulton and Carew, with Carrick and Gray. No change. John Brown, the Newcastle driver, doing it very easily. Coming down to get 3 laps to go to complete his second point scoring heat and looking to make it 2 starts and 2 wins. Brown leads from Gordon, then Baker, followed by Fulton, Carew, Gray and Carrick. But coming down main straightaway, John Brown is just 1 lap away from his second victory tonight and looking a very strong contender for the title. Doug Gordon is second, Ray Wright is third, 4th place is Bob Fulton, 5th place is Carew, 6th is Gray. But here are the rooftop numbers for the checkered flag: 6, 54, 7, then the 48, followed by the 55, the 24, and the 64. 3 minutes, 18.725 the time. As we see it from the tower, 6 John Brown, 54 Doug Gordon, 7 Ray Wright, 48 Bob Fulton, 55 Terry Carew, 24 Robert Gray, and 64 Robert Carrick. 318.725. Last chance point scoring heats coming up in the Yokohama Tyres New FM 105 Australian Super Sedan title. Let's have a look at who's on the track and who's scoring well so far in this series. And in this heat, the 42 of Chris Blunden has 38 points. The 4 of Stu Robertson is right up the top. He's in the top 5 point scorers at this stage, Robertson. And they're on their way. Dan's got away very well on the outside. Lilford's trying to look for room on the outside. Duncan McDonald going quickly. Lilford looking to come up onto Dan's, and maybe Lilford will get back into the winner's circle on his very first night back at the Motordrome. Dan's is the leader. Lilford coming up on the inside of him. Then comes Blunden, followed by McDonald and Robertson. Miller is next. Then comes Richardson, and Whalen's bringing up the rear. They're really tightly bunched up front, where Dan's in the red car is the leader. Lilford in the car number 1, moving up on the outside, trying to look for the lead. And he gets it. Lilford races to the lead around Dan's. Then comes Blunden around the outside. Robertson goes round the outside of Dan's as well. Coming down Main Straight, Lilford has got the lead. This is Graham Cowboy Lilford, back to racing at the Newcastle Motordrome and back to a position that he was pretty good at, ringing up that number 1 and taking the checkered flag. Lilford, followed by Blunden from South Australia, then Robertson from New South Wales. Next is Dans, followed by Miller, the South Australian. Then comes Richardson, the Tasmanian, trying to get up on the inside, and Duncan McDonald from New South Wales at the tail. Graham Lilford leads with 7 laps to go. The South Australian Blunden is coming under plenty of pressure from Stu Robertson. And Robertson and Blunden, Robertson getting up on the inside, keeping his high point scoring position intact. He's one of the top 5 point scorers at the moment. And there's Richardson in trouble. The Tasmanian going straight into the wall. We'll check to see that he's all right and doesn't need any ambulance assistance, but for some reason the car just would not turn and went straight into the wall. So we'll have a break whilst the tow trucks get to the Tasmanian Ian Richardson. He said he was going to do something tonight. He certainly has. He's gone straight into the wall. Car in trouble there was the car of Kevin Dans. Now they are clear of the track, so the officials are looking at restarting the race. Yellow lights flashing. The green flag falls and Graham Lilford leads from Stu Robertson, the 2 Newcastle boys. Lilford back to the racetrack for the first time tonight for a number of years, and he's leading the way from Robertson, followed by the South Australian Chris Blunden, and then comes another South Australian, Steve Miller, and Duncan McDonald is the 5th car running in the race at the tail of the pack. No change in the order, following each other, Indian file. Lilford, Robertson, Blunden, Miller and McDonald. Blunden goes up very high. It pushed out badly on him in that corner and he went from 3rd back to 5th. Miller and McDonald both got by him. This goes to show how costly a mistake can be. Once you make that mistake, it can bring you real problems. Lilford, Robertson, Miller, McDonald, Blunden. Now Miller has gone very high. The other South Australians clouded the wall. He's tried to bounce back into 3rd place. White flag out, and Graham Lilford, will this be his first win back at the Newcastle Motordrome? Been a long while since we've seen Lilford in action, but boy, this is the action we've been used to in the past. And coming out of turn 3-4, there he is, back in the winner's circle, Graham Cowboy Lilford. 4, Stu Robertson, 16, Miller, 17, McDonald, and 42, Blunden. No time taken. 69, Lilford, 4, Robertson, 16, Miller, 17, McDonald, 42, Blunden. So Stu Robertson keeps himself right in the firing line. He had big points going into his last drive and he's added more big points. But a good win to Graham Lilford, welcoming back to the winner's circle. And Girdleston got away beautifully round the outside of McEwen. Girdleston takes up the running, McEwen in 2nd place. Tony Bridge, the Queenslander, is running 3rd. Then comes Alan Baker, followed by the Canberra driver Peter Bink. Peter Garrett is next. Barry Lee is second last, and the Queensland champion Wayne Randall at the tail of the field. Nick Girdleston leads them at the completion of the first lap of Heat 12 of our title, and Girdleston away from Don McEwen. Then comes the Queenslander Tony Bridge, keeping his points tally intact, and so too is Alan Baker, who's running in 4th place at the moment, and our new 12-lap record holder Baker was really flying earlier on, and coming up on the inside of Tony Bridge was trying to make the move to go up into 3rd place there, but had to back off just a little bit and is in 4th spot. Girdleston the leader, but Don McEwen is getting a lot closer to him and starting to put a little bit of pressure on him at the moment. Then there's a little gap back to the Queenslander Tony Bridge, followed by the New South Wales driver Alan Baker. Then comes Canberra's Peter Bink, followed by Queensland's Wayne Randall. Next is Peter Garrett, and last of all is Barry Lee. Now Alan Baker getting into trouble, goes up on the windrow in main straight away and lost a placing there as Peter Bink got around the outside of him. And Baker making a lot of unforced errors at the moment. Barry Lee goes for a spin at the back of the pack and off the track, as Nick Girdleston has a comfortable lead. Well, is it comfortable? Because here's Don McEwen coming right up onto his back bumper bar and starting to put the pressure on Girdleston. But Girdleston keeping it tight, keeping it low, is going to make McEwen work round the outside of him if he wants the lead. Girdleston the leader, McEwen is second, and look at the little Mazda of Wayne Randall coming out of the pack and getting up into 3rd place. In fact, he's just going right round the outside of them. The little car's going to go to the lead. Look at the little Mazda go. Girdleston on the inside is going for a spin, and Randall's nailed him. Oh, the little Mazda rotary is just standing on the gas. He's smoked them coming down main straight away, and Randall goes to the lead. McEwen in 2nd place. Girdleston running 3rd. Then comes Bridge, followed by Baker. And the Mazda rotary has just lost the exhaust pipe. He's melted it clean off, I'd reckon. Now have a listen to the Mazda. He's melted the exhaust and muffler clean off it, I'd say. Randall, McEwen, Girdleston. Barry Lee's been lapped, but the muffler has fallen off the Wayne Randall car, but he hasn't fallen off the pace. Randall, McEwen, then Girdleston. The white flag is out. 1 lap to go, and the noise is horrendous as the muffler has fallen away, and Don McEwen's getting up on the inside of Randall. He's starting to serve it up to him. Randall in the little Mazda is going to come down and take the checkered flag, and the muffler has fallen away from the Randall car. McEwen coming home in 2nd place. Girdleston would get 3rd spot. Then came Garrett, followed by the 3 of Bink and the 15 of Bridge. Last chance now for Heat 13. Paul O'Neill. Is up front. John Pine's with him. The green flag falls. Pine got away well on the outside. He looks as if he might lead O'Neill in the first corner, and he does. John Pine, Paul O'Neill, Ian Marshall from Queensland getting out of the pack pretty quickly. Then comes Ken Johnson. Here's another couple of cars at the back of the pack starting to make moves. Ben Ludlow, who's scoring well, and Ron Pine starting to make up a lot of ground in the early couple of laps. They're really going to have to get going to catch John Pine once he got that good grid draw. He has shown them a clean pair of heels, and away he goes from Paul O'Neill. Then Ian Marshall, followed by Ben Ludlow, who's got quickly up into 4th place. Then Pedro Smith and Ron Pine. They're the top 6 cars. John Pine leading, but Paul O'Neill staying right in touch. So too is the Queenslander Ian Marshall. Then there's a gap back to Ben Ludlow and a gap back to Pedro Smith, who's being chased out by Ron Pine. We might keep our eye on these top 3 cars, I would reckon, because that's where the interesting battle is. John Pine, Paul O'Neill, and Ian Marshall getting out very wide. Yes, he pulled it back down onto the track all right before he got into too much trouble out very wide. John Pine coming up to a slower car that's all over the track. Paul O'Neill is running 2nd place, and he's going to go around the outside of the slow car, and Ian Marshall's going to go around the outside as well. John Pine leading from Paul O'Neill, then Ben Ludlow, Ron Pine has got a flat tyre, and he's going to get down off the track all right, I think. Yep, he's going to clear the track A-OK with the flat tyre. Bad luck for Ron Pine. He was scoring well, but he's popped the tyre. Back to the race leaders, coming down main straightaway. 4 laps to go. New South Wales champ John Pine from our own Newcastle club leading. Former national champion Paul O'Neill in 2nd place, the Lismore driver. The Queenslander Ian Marshall moving up very strongly into 3rd place. And these 3 cars figuring in a tremendous battle. Ben Ludlow is back in 4th place. So we've got former national champion Paul O'Neill, a former national champion in Ian Marshall, and a New South Wales state champion in John Pine. Pine, O'Neill and Marshall. Ludlow coming up on the outside of a slower car and getting up into 4th place. He's driven very well, Ludlow. Then comes Pedro Smith. John Brown. So coming down to take the checkered flag, and the rooftop numbers are 9, 56, 25, 39, 11, 6, and we'll have to check the others out down the list. The time taken, 3:16.740. And the green flag falls. Leslight on the outside, Mortimer on the inside. Lismore drivers 1 and 2. Mortimer gets the better of turn 1 and 2, and he takes the lead from Leslight. The Victorian Grinstead up into 3rd place. The Northern Territory driver Carew coming right round the outside and hitting the wall. And the Northern Territory driver, Carew, having all sorts of trouble getting away from the concrete wall, eventually does so. The leader is Mortimer. Leslight getting up on the inside of him. Grinstead running 3rd. Now Nichols dropping right out of the race. He's got some mechanical problem. The Northern Territory driver running 4th, that's Carew. Then comes Bell and Bryant going round the outside. But Leslight in front. John Leslight from Lismore is the leader from Sean Mortimer. Oh, the Victorian Grinstead getting into a bit of trouble. I think he might just manage to hang on to 3rd. Oh, and Carew going right over the top of Grinstead. Cannoned himself into the wall, and that was a heavy crash. There's the green flag to send them on their way. And 4 cars left in serious contention. Nichols, is going to have to be sent, I'd say, from the field. He can't just continue around at that pace. He is, in fact, being put out of the race. And Leslight, Mortimer, Bryant and Bell. 3 Lismore cars running 1, 2 and 3. So they come down Main Straight with 6 to go in heat 14. Leslight, Bryant coming up on the inside of Mortimer, and Bryant goes up into second place as Mortimer tended to drift up coming out of turn 2, and Bryant took the opportunity to slam up underneath. Leslight coming down Main Straight away. Cole Bryant, Sean Mortimer, Cole Bell, no change. Now Leslight has just 3 laps to go. Bryant second, Mortimer third, Bell is fourth. They're strung right out. Only 4 cars are going to finish this heat. And it's Leslight, Bryant, Mortimer and Bell. One lap to go. John Leslight doing it easily at the moment. The other cars aren't pushing themselves at this stage either. There's absolutely no need to. And heat 14 goes to John Leslight. Second place goes to Cole Bryant, Rooftop 33. Then 28, Mortimer, and 63, Bell. Now got the position sorted out. And Cole Robinson got away well from the front in front of Robert Carrick. Back in the field there was a little bit of a bump as Robert Burke came through on the inside, but everything seemed to sort itself out okay, and Cole Robinson's the leader from Robert Carrick. Moving very quickly into third place at the moment is Doug Gordon. Then comes Robert Gray, followed by Ray Wright, then Robert Burke, Darryl Fowley. Now Bob Brewer's well back at the moment. He's third last at this stage with still 10 laps to go. Cole Robinson the leader, Robert Carrick in second place, Doug Gordon third. Then comes Robert Gray from Western Australia, followed by Ray Wright, Robert Burke, Darryl Fowley, and now Bob Brewer starting to join in. Red light is on because we have a problem down in turn 4. '62, Michael Bogorski. There's the green, and this time Carrick got away well from the outside. He might take the lead away from Robinson. Robinson comes up on the inside, however, and he hangs on to that lead. Gordon decides to chase him through, but Robert Carrick came down and chopped him off. Robert Gray came up into third place, and Gordon got chopped back to fourth. Caution on Robert Carrick as he goes down Main straight away, and Robert Gray from Western Australia came up on the inside of him, and those two got a touch. Cole Robinson the leader, followed by Robert Carrick in second place in the red and blue car. Then the red car from Western Australia, driven by Robert Gray, is in third place, followed by the blue car of Doug Gordon, who hangs on to fourth spot, but he's under pressure from the yellow car number 7 of Alan Baker. Ray Wright. Cole Robinson still leads. Robert Carrick second. Robert Gray third. Doug Gordon fourth. Ray Wright fifth, and Bob Brewer gets up into sixth place. Slowly but surely edging his way towards the lead, Brewer. Robert Gray getting around the outside of Robert Carrick, and Gray goes up into second place. Carrick is trapped up high, and Doug Gordon comes through on the inside of him. Ray Wright went through and went up into fourth place, and Carrick's gone back to fifth. Caution flag being shown at Robert Carrick in car number 10 as Bob Brewer comes up behind him, and Brewer trying to get up on the inside of Carrick. .78 of Robinson. Robinson leads from Gray, followed by Gordon. Here's Ray Wright trying to get up on the inside of Gordon, right in the yellow car. Followed by Gordon in third place. Robinson, Gray, Gordon and Wright running 1, 2, 3 and 4. Brewer is in fifth place. One lap to go. Robinson, Gray, Gordon and Wright. Then a gap to Brewer. I'll come down and get the checkered flag. And the final point scoring heat goes to 44, 24, 54, 7, 2, 41 and 48. No time taken. 44 Robinson, 24 Gray, 54 Gordon, 7 Wright, 2 Brewer, 41 Farrelly, 48 Fulton.